What's good? All right, so we are live in my kitchen. I got my glasses on, y'all. I know, right? Ooh, and you know what, these glasses are not my favorite of my glasses to wear. I've been wearing glasses since the 5th grade, and long story short, I'm still wearing glasses. I wear contacts a lot, but I don't really like these glasses. But nonetheless, we're about to get it popping with this food. All right, so today what I am cooking is blackened tilapia. And I got this recipe offline, so I'm excited to cook it for the first time. So it's baked blackened tilapia. Gonna have some steamed broccoli, and I'm also going to have some roasted garlic potatoes, and it's the Betty Crocker edition. All you gotta do is follow the instructions, so you can't get that wrong. Now, it's one of those quick meals, and the reason the meal is so quick is because I have to get down to Riverbend later on today. You should stop by the Youth and Family Development tent. So that's the deal. So this is going to be a very, very quick meal, and I've already done some meal prep for those that are just now tuning in. So I'll tell you kind of my ingredients. I'll tell you how much I'll tell you how much of each ingredient that I use, how long it's gonna take for everything to get ready. And so we'll go on a little quick tour right quick. So while I do that, I'm also going to set up my live feed that's going to be showing on my like page for Facebook. So yeah, we're gonna get it popping right quick. So thank you once again for tuning in and checking out my show. I'm excited that you're here. I see a few people have joined. Shout out to Michael Arnold, William Elston, Jean Lovelady. How y'all doing? And so we're going to go ahead and pretty much break out this food. And once again, I told you I already did some meal prep, so we don't have a lot of that to do, which I'm really happy about that. And that's really working out as far as time's sake for today. So here we go. I'm going in to my refrigerator and I'm pulling out my ingredients for the blackened chicken. I'm also pulling out, and the treat for today is I'm gonna make some homemade tartar sauce for my blackened chicken. So I am like really excited and pretty stoked about that, because it's like a big deal for me to do that. And in my opinion, it's a big deal. Okay, so I'm pulling out my tilapia. I have been thawing. I feel like I've been thawing it out forever in a day, but nonetheless. And I'm a person, like when I start cooking, I like, you know, it's in a little pack, but I have to rinse it off. And all of my groceries are courtesy of Wally World. Shout out to Walmart. They're going to be a sponsor here soon. In Jesus' name, amen. So let's get into the topic as I get ready to prepare this food. Once again, I have some wonderful dishes already in the oven. I have the broccoli that is steaming, as well as, and when I say steaming, so I'm going to show you the broccoli that I get actually. Wally World, big bag of just the frozen broccoli florets, whatever. And so, this is what I use. I don't like mushy broccoli, don't like mushy broccoli. So with that being said, what I do is I take my broccoli, and I'll show you. I take my broccoli and I actually wrap it. I put a little butter, a little bit of garlic salt. That's it. A little butter, a little garlic salt. And I wrap it in aluminum foil in a little pan. And it may be my little pan. And you see that steam coming off of it. All I really wanted to do is melt my is melt the frozen water pretty much off of my broccoli. So if you can, ooh, yeah. And I'm a happy camper. That's it, because I like my broccoli crunchy. So this is actually done, and that's it. Little pan. I put it, line the pan. Put a little broccoli in there. I put a little broccoli in there, and some garlic salt, a little garlic salt, and some, you know what I'm talking about? Butter. Boom, that's done. Sam just checked in. Nice, but tilapia equals GMO. Well, you know, it's one of those quick meals today. It's not super health conscious today. Every meal is not super health conscious for me, but I do try to stick to that. And then my potatoes, ooh, they're in there looking really good as well. Okay, so back to this tilapia that I'm rinsing, and I got my pan. And so a lot of stuff has been happening in Chattanooga, and I've seen like a lot of people chiming in on how they feel about the shootings that's been taking place. And you know, a lot of people has a lot to say about the parents. And so really this conversation is twofold. Father's Day is approaching, so shout out to all of the fathers. Shout out to Jasmine McDermott and G Money for checking in. So Father's Day is approaching, as well as you know, Chattanooga has just been off the chain with a lot of shootings and a lot of stuff happening, unfortunately, that's caused a lot of people to rethink and reevaluate. And it's one thing to say, you know, parents, where are you? And you know, you got to be careful of who your kids are with, and that's absolutely true. But also, you know, you got to have people who are constant in your life. Shout out to Delisa for checking in. Miss Blackstock, what's up? So, you know, once again, it's really important to have mentors and people in your life that you actually listen to. And everybody doesn't have the best or the greatest set of parents, unfortunately. But some people that still find themselves in a heap of trouble have awesome parents, and their parents are very active in their life, and their parents, you know, check their social media, and their parents, you know, go to school conferences and all of that. So it's been like a big back and forth of parents being involved versus, you know, how things are going with our kids in the streets. And you know, not to speak on anybody's situation, because I don't know the details of anybody's situation, but it is something that's been on my heart and been weighing on me. So, you know, I definitely want to address it. So as I do, you know, I share kind of my background and where I come from and how I get to the places that I am in my life, and you know, the conclusions and the information that I have stored in my, you know, life experiences that I share with you guys. Before we get into that story, I want to share this. So the ingredients, this is my bowl of blackened goodness, and it is pretty much 3 teaspoons of paprika. There is 1 spoonful of everything, 1 teaspoon, not spoonful, 1 teaspoon of everything else. So it's like 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a little Zatarain cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and you mix it all together, and this is going to be my spread for my blackened tilapia. All right, so let's see. Hey, love. Hey, Miss Blackstock. They spray tilapia in the package with carbon monoxide to keep their color. Everybody is on me about this tilapia. Clearly, I shouldn't be eating tilapia, but I enjoy it thoroughly. So we're going to say some prayers. We're going to rinse this tilapia off, and we're going to eat it around here in Nori's kitchen. Now, am I taking what everyone's saying into consideration? Absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing these health tips with me. So now that I know, won't be any more tilapia on my Facebook Live, because y'all are like, Nori, no, don't do it. Okay, I'm listening to you. So I'm going to end this extra virgin olive oil. So what up to Les that just checked in? I'm going to put some of this over my tilapia, so it also, you know, puts a little love on the pan, as well as it's going to help this blackened tilapia mix that's going to stick onto my meat. So that's what we're doing right now, oiling it up real good. Now back to my story. So when I was a little girl, I was probably about I think I was 10 years old, And my mother and father took me and my brother to the park. I will never forget it. They took me and my brother to the park, and they took us to Avondale Recreation Center, actually. And that is when they told us that they were getting a divorce. And you know, it hit you like a ton of bricks, like your parents are not gonna be together forever. And I was 10, and that was kind of heavy, and it was hard to take and hard to process, right? So within this whole conversation that my dad is having with me, and they decided to talk to me and my brother individually. So my mom talked to me and my dad talked to my brother. So we were, you know, all at the park, regular day, and then they, you know, decided to tell us that they were getting divorced. And I think for kids, the initial, and I hate to say this, the initial thought is, oh my God, we get 2 of everything. And you're like, kind of like, okay, you know people that you are in school with and their parents got a divorce, and you don't think that it'll have as big an impact on your life until you get older. And then you realize, damn, my parents not being together, that really did something to me, especially, and I can only speak coming from the point of view of a woman, you know? And don't get me wrong, I adore both of my parents. Father's Day is coming up. Gonna hang out with my dad. I gotta figure out what he wanted to do for Father's Day, and I kind of got some ideas of what I want to do. And me and my dad are gonna have fun, and it's gonna be great, right? But there was a period in time where I didn't really understand why my mom and dad couldn't get along and why they couldn't get on the same page. And that really, really, as I got older, is when I realized it really bothered me. These are 2 people that I love and adore. My dad, present, he was a very present father. My dad, you know, he was at all the birthday parties and, you know, all the holidays. We got pictures at Granny house, and, you know, my grandma Emily and my grandpa, and, you know, we've made hella crazy dope memories. And my mom, you know, because when you going through a divorce, you know, one of the things you try to figure out is who you're gonna live with. And I was living, you know, gonna stay with my mom. My mom was like, you know, y'all are gonna stay with me, and you know, I'm cool with that. Like, all right, cool. And then we shared the time between my dad. And then, of course, everything is amicable in the beginning of a divorce, and you think it's gonna be all good. And then your parents go through this phase where they're not getting along, and child support is an issue, and somebody decides to remarry, and, you know, all of that stuff. So I share a bit of my story to say that oftentimes, whether your child tells you or not, when they come from either a 2-parent home, a broken home, and they're in a situation where even if you have a 2-parent home, and let's say you are not as present as the other parent, then there could be a possible disconnect between you and that youth, whether it's the mother or the father. That affects the child. That affects their behavior. That affects how they go and move in the world and how they address society. Like, all of that is a factor. Sometimes as youth, we just make bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes everything could be right and you still make a very bad decision. Now, as I am talking to you, I have prepared my Blackened Tilapia. Ah, it looks really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and this, because I don't like my, back to the food, I don't like my tilapia to be like dried out, or a fish in general, or chicken or whatever. So I always put a little water in the bottom just so it, you know, got something to stick or adhere to. And I'm about to pop this in the oven. And we're going to let that bake right quick. But back to my story. It really can affect the young people psychologically more than you know. And I was a kid, I'm, you know, pretty happy kid. It didn't really affect me when I was 10 more so as it affected me when I got older, and I got a chance to see that other people, you know, had both of their parents, and you know how they were moving and doing their thing. So you know, that was important. I know, Les, I probably should turn the camera like this for one, where it's better. Oh, we always fight with this camera, and you can't really see what I'm doing, really. See if I can. Les is trying to get me to prop this camera where you can kind of see what I'm doing, but I got to squat so you can see me. But so, or just see my tatas. So, okay. So, long story short, let me get back to this food right quick. So, I've already kind of mixed up what this is. I'm making some homemade tartar sauce. So, with this homemade tartar sauce, it is a 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. It is some pickle relish. 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. I'm gonna hold it. 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, pickle relish, and some 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. So that's what it is, and I'm about to mix this up. So if you're just now checking in, I was talking about the importance of fathers and mothers really setting that foundation for their kids, even if they find themselves not necessarily, I'm putting it back, not necessarily getting along. So I'm mixing this homemade tartar sauce that I'm making. So ultimately, you know, and it's funny because older people, like older couples, I see them, and a lot of older couples have stayed together for the sake of their children because they knew the importance of having that foundation at home. And some people are like, I gotta be out. I can't be any good for my kid if I can't be happy and live and, you know, and be able to love myself properly. Let's try this. This tartar sauce is good. Too much lemon. I shouldn't have used as much lemon. But when I put it on the chicken, on the tilapia, that actually may come out really good. So, okay. I can dig that. So that's why it's important for the mother and the father, even if you decide you can't be together and divorce is your only option, you have to think about how are you going to make your kids a priority. Because if you do not, if you become selfish in the divorce process, or you become selfish in the whole process, you could possibly drive your kids to make very bad decisions because they're looking for love in all of the wrong places. Now, I was fortunate that my dad said something to me so powerful, and it really shaped the course of our relationship and how I thought of him and how I perceived how he was handling the whole situations. So one of the dopest things that my dad said to me when I was younger and the whole divorce thing was happening, he said, listen, he said, I have been with you and your brother since day one. He was like, and I have instilled in you all love and compassion. And he was like, you know that I love you. You know that I'm always going to be there for you. You know that no matter what, I'm here for you. And I was like, yeah, Dad, you know, I get it. And he was like, no, he said, because it may come a time when I'm not around as much as I am now. And he was like, I feel confident that I've given you and your brother all the tools that you need, and that you and your brother are going to go and, you know, be great. He was like, and once again, that separation period may come. He said, but I'm always here. I'm the same person. I'm never changing. I'm your dad. I'm always going to be your daddy. And that's the end. And by him taking the time to sit me down and to deliver that message, like that always, no matter what happened with my parents, and my mom, she was amazing. And, you know, she dealt with the situation the best she could. My dad dealt with the situation the best that he could. But, you know, they both were very strong in their own rights. So I celebrate the fathers who step up. I celebrate the fathers who are present. I celebrate the fathers who, it may not even be their biological kids, but they are doing the role of the you know, paternal father. You know, they've taken on that responsibility. Now, let me add this in the mix of the conversation. You have to be with someone who is adding to your life. You have to be with someone that makes you a better person. You have to be with someone that can feed you spiritually. So you have to be with somebody that does all of those things. I've had the opportunity to witness, you know, marriages and relationships and fathers and daughters that and fathers and sons and mothers and sons and mothers and daughters that they have all the elements. God first, it's the husband, it's the wife, it's the kids. Like, they have all of those elements. And you see that portrayed in their kids. You know what I'm saying? Your kids are a product of you. And life all the time comes down to the choices that we make. If you choose to lay down with a person and have a child with a person that you already know doesn't take care of their responsibilities, he may have some good D. She maybe everything that you want when it comes to the good loving, but is that enough? That doesn't put food on the table for a child. That doesn't take your child to the doctor. That doesn't give them that nurturing and love and support that they need. So, you know, parents have to not be selfish. And people like say, oh, why have you waited? Or what are you waiting on? I'm waiting for the person that I'm his real, that we just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's undeniable. It's not kind of a question in the back of my mind, or he asking me to do something that's completely out of my character, or, you know, anything of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So your kids are a reflection of you. So if you with somebody and you dogging them out and they ain't no good, your kid has a choice. He gonna pick, or she's gonna pick, whether they take on your characteristics or whether they take on the characteristics of their father, or whether they take on the characteristics of the person that is there for them and supporting them. You know what I'm saying? So all of that is a culmination of things. All of that, you know, goes hand in hand, and you can't ignore it. So when I hear people say, oh, you should know where your kids are, or, oh, you should know, you know, who your kids are hanging out with. Absolutely. But guess what? There's some parents who do everything that they're supposed to do for their child, and their child just rebellious. I mean, I've went through that situation where my mom said, you know, this guy, Nori, he's no good for you. Don't date this guy. And I was like, but I love him and I want to date him and all this kind of stuff. And then when it don't work out, did my mama come to me and say, little girl, I told you so? No, she didn't. She was supportive, and she let me cry on her shoulder, and she let me get it all out my system. Well, this is what I did, because I did some bad stuff too, Mom. And then this is what, you know, this is what he did, but his stuff was worse than mine. We always gonna act like their stuff worse than our stuff. But, you know, needless to say, you go through those situations, and the relationship, it is what it is. But a lot of it has to do with that foundation that is set. A lot of it has to do with how young people see their parents act. If a mother is out here and she got, you know, this guy that is not really good and hanging out, and same thing with the father. If the father is choosing these thought hood rat girls, it is what it is. And can I say this? Can I have a Nori moment? These chicks that like to wear bonnets in public all the time, I got a problem with that. But and you got your kids trailing behind you and you still got on your pajamas? Why? Why are you going out displaying yourself in public like that, but you won't? That's what your kids see. So when you do hood rat and low-minded things, and to me, you know, somebody may get offended with what I'm saying right now, but how you carry yourself at all times is a true reflection of your character. Now, these are Nori's opinions. If you don't agree with my opinions, you can hit that live feed and cut it on off. But that's how I feel. And I'm not saying you got to be dolled up all the time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a superficial person. But what I am saying, at least make sure that in your home you're doing things that lets your youth know, those kids that are watching you know that they have a strong and a good foundation, and that their mother or their father is representing the representative that people see on the outside is a reflection of their representative on the inside. So you need to be beautiful from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? From the inside out. So how you carry you're a beautiful person on the inside, be a beautiful person on the outside. You want people to respect you know, how you are carrying yourself and raising your kids and how you moving and shaking. Then be respectful of other people. So I say to the fathers, happy Father's Day. You are important. You mean the world, especially to little girls. I am a daddy's girl. My dad is Braun, and he has never forsaken me. He has always been there, no matter if him and my mom had a disagreement. He was there. He was a father, and he stepped up, and that was important. And even when he took a back seat, because my dad did. My dad is so passive. and when I say he's passive, like he doesn't like conflict. My mom, she doesn't like conflict, but I know I get my feisty side and my, you know, not back down side. Like I get that from my mama. You know what I'm saying? But my dad is so passive, and he's like, you know, if this is what your mom wanted, then that's what it is. You know, that's how my dad has always been. And my mom, she's been very awesome in not keeping us from our dad. You know what I'm saying? Like even when it got really rough and tough, and you know, it was that moment when they were not getting along. Like if it was his weekend, guess what? We still went over our daddy house. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's still, I may not like you right now, but my kids, our kids are going to be with their father, because that has nothing to do with the other. It's two separate situations. And guess what? You decided to have a baby with this person. So decide to raise them together, because as this person gets older, they are going to make decisions that reflect everything that's happened, a culmination of things. Because we go through life experiences, and those life experiences shape us for who we are. If my mother and father wouldn't have gotten divorced, I probably would look at men and women differently, period. No matter how you try to make it, I would look at men and women differently, because I would have came up in a two-parent household. And no knock or no diss against, you know, stepmothers and fathers, and they're great and they're wonderful. But as a youth that came up in a home where there was a stepfather present, and he can be cool or he can be a tyrant. No matter what, you still have that. I'm not crying, y'all. It's just hot in here. You still have that moment when you're like, damn, like I wish my real daddy was here, or I wish my real mama was here. You know what I'm saying? So for the step parents, make sure that you put that respect there, and that respect is given so it can be received, and you guys mutually respect each other, and you show that that daughter and that son that you love them and that you're there for them. And those kids, we feel it. We know when somebody really love us and really is there for us. We know it, we feel it, and we reciprocate it. We might fight it a little bit, but we know. So once again, it's just been a lot on my mind, and I've covered a lot of information. But I think one of the most important things is to make sure that you are being as supportive as you can to your sons and your daughters, and to all of the kids. Make sure you love on your dad as we go into this Father's Day weekend. So once again, to give you an idea of the food that I cooked, I made some homemade tartar sauce for those that are checking in. I made some homemade tartar sauce. This is my blackened tilapia mix that I made. Put in a lot. I made some scalloped potatoes. And then I also made some steamed broccoli. I don't know, you see it? Some steamed broccoli. And then I'm gonna, because it doesn't take long for the tilapia to get ready. But I'm about to pull out my tilapia. And I don't want to drop my tilapia. Woo! This struggle is real. All right, my blackened tilapia. It is done. It looks really good. All right, after I eat, I'm heading down to Riverbend. Thank you so much for checking in. Bye.